Here are the highlights of this week's news on Japan Today. I'm Nathan, and if you're into chronic deflation, you should know that major Japanese companies, including automakers Toyota and Nissan, have offered their largest pay hikes in decades at annual wage negotiations. This could determine whether the country can finally overcome its chronic deflation. The government has repeatedly asked business leaders to increase wages at a pace that exceeds inflation, to varying success. Rising prices for everyday goods as a result of higher raw material costs and the weak yen have weighed on households. Like, have you seen how much Uber Eats is these days? It used to cost 1,000 yen for a McDonald's meal. Now it's 100,000 yen. Toyota, seen as a trendsetter at the annual wage negotiations, hiked monthly wages by almost 30,000 yen. Similarly, Nissan agreed to increase their monthly wages by around 18,000 yen on average. But the biggest was from Nippon Steel Corp, which is raising base pay by 35,000 yen per month. Mitsubishi Heavy Industries, Kawasaki Heavy Industries, Mitsubishi Electric, and NEC also said they fully met their union's requests for increased pay, offering raises from between 13,000 yen to 18,000 yen, so good on you, unions. But what about where you work? What's your boss giving you? Has your salary been raised? April is soon, contract negotiations, good luck. Bullying at school has long been a problem in Japan, but more cases are being treated as crimes. The number of bullying cases involving students in Japan that led to individuals being investigated by police was 292 last year, the highest in 10 years, the National Police Agency said in a report. The total cases among students of elementary, junior high, and high schools increased by 116 from the year before, after the Education Ministry made a request last year for schools to work more closely with police on bullying-related incidents. Of the 292 cases of bullying, assault was the most common, with 102. Police said another factor is the spread of social media in bullying, with the spreading of rumors about the targeted child and online harassment of a sexual nature on the rise. Last Thursday, the Sapporo High Court ruled that the lack of legal recognition of same-sex marriage in Japan is unconstitutional. The court ruled that current laws violate Article 14 of the Constitution, which states all of the people are equal under the law, as well as Article 24, which says marriage shall be based only on the mutual consent of both sexes, and it shall be maintained through mutual cooperation with the equal rights of husband and wife as a basis. This is the first time that a court ruled that Article 24 can be understood as guaranteeing a marriage between individuals of the same sex. The ruling said that there would be no disadvantage or harm even if the same-sex marriages are legalized, including in terms of social impact. Feelings of discomfort or aversion towards same-sex marriages are only due to sensuous emotional reasons, the ruling also stated. Japan's civil law and family registration law provisions are currently based on a marriage between a man and a woman. The privileges from marriage, such as inheritance rights, tax benefits, and joining custody of children, are only granted to heterosexual couples. Various municipalities have issued partnership certificates to make it easier for same-sex partners to receive some of the public service benefits heterosexual couples do, but as it stands, they are not legally binding. Children of foreign workers in Japan tend to face financial difficulties, according to the organization Solidarity Network with Migrants Japan. According to the Labor Ministry, the amount of foreign workers in Japan rose 12.4% last year, reaching 2 million for the first time back in October. In addition, the number of people who entered Japan on the dependent visa status was around 245,000 at the end of June 2023, which is 7.5% higher than the previous year. With the increase in foreign workers, more and more groups, such as the Liberal Democratic Party, have been calling for additional support from the government when it comes to the financial aid that foreign children receive, as well as, something else pretty important, their status for staying in Japan long term. This is, of course, due to the demand in securing foreign labor amid the declining population. But starting in April, the Education Ministry is planning on providing dependent visa status to students who live in the country with their parents and have completed schooling in Japan from elementary through high school. At present, the scholarships, which usually come in the form of a grant or loan, are only available to Japanese citizens and foreign nationals with a long-term stay visa status, such as permanent residency. With these upcoming changes, it's expected that around 500 to even 1,000 new students will be eligible for the scholarships. Toru Takahashi, a member of the Solidarity Network with Migrants Japan, welcomes the new initiative, but states that the requirement for students needing 12 years of education in Japan is likely to be too harsh, as it will necessitate the children to have been in Japan before the first grade. International Atomic Energy Agency Director General, which is a very cool title by the way, Rafael Grossi, has observed firsthand the Fukushima Daiichi nuclear power plant's ongoing radioactive wastewater discharges for the first time since the contentious program began last August. Grossi met local officials and representatives from fishing and business groups and reassured them that the discharges are being carried out with no impact to the environment, water, or fish. So hopefully no mutant sharks. The discharges have been opposed by fishing groups and neighboring countries, including China, who really hate mutant sharks, which banned all imports of Japanese seafood immediately after the release began. You don't want to know what happens when you eat the mutant sharks. I keep saying it, but you don't want to know. Grossi also met with Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida and Foreign Minister Yoko Kamikawa. And hey, they must have been pretty darn good meetings, because the next day, the Japanese government said it will provide the International Atomic Energy Agency about 18.5 million euros to support its efforts to utilize nuclear technology to tackle global challenges such as climate change, food security, and public health. A few weeks ago, we reported that Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump opposed the planned purchase of US steel by Nippon Steel. Surprisingly, current President Joe Biden has said the same thing. Clearly, it seems this labor vote relating to the steel may hold some part of key to the election. Biden said that the US needs to maintain strong American steel companies powered by American steel workers. By opposing the merger, Biden has chosen to support unionized workers at the risk of upsetting the business community and an essential ally in Japan. The US Chamber of Commerce warned in a February blog post it would be foolhardy of the Biden administration to block the deal. Doing so could hurt foreign investment into the United States, cause other countries to block overseas investments that US companies want, and undermine the entire US-Japan alliance. And now, it's time for the weird and wonderful news brought to you by Japan Home Finder. Do you want to buy a house but don't know where to start? Inquire today and we will set you up with an agent who is of course bilingual and knows everything about buying a home. Inquire with the Japan Home Finder and you will find your home. Weird, wonderful news. Did someone hack the Big Mac? McDonald's had a bad day worldwide last Friday after a technology outage disrupted business for several hours. In Japan, it was a disaster, with customers unable to make cashless orders over the counter and mobile orders via its official app. Very good app, by the way. I love mobile order. Except when it doesn't work. Many stores in Japan had to close on Friday and part of Saturday. The company said the outage was caused by a third-party technology provider. Very smart McDonald's tossed the blame. It also said the outage was not related, however, to the shift to Google Cloud. In December, McDonald's announced a multi-year partnership with Google to move restaurant computations from servers into the cloud. The partnership is designed to speed up tasks like ordering at kiosks and to help managers optimize staffing, none of which functioned during the outage. Yay! And let me just say, I was there. I was boots on the ground, ground zero during this outage. I was so excited to have McDonald's that night, and all I ended up with was pain. Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida has been talking more about diversity in society and government recently. But having go-go dancers at an event held by his Liberal Democratic Party, probably not what he had in mind. How about no dancers, Kishida? Footage leaked from the event in November organized by a regional chapter of the LDP showed women in skimpy outfits dancing and sitting on participants' laps. The women came from a troupe called Glamour Dancers and used their mouths to receive banknotes as tips from participants. How dexterous. One of the organizers, Tetsuya Kawabata, defended the event by saying that the presence of the girls was intended to ensure diversity. What? I don't even have a comment or a joke, just Kawabata went on to say, the excitement that ensued, particularly toward the end of the social gathering, exceeded my expectations. Interesting. As always in scandals like this, there has to be a fall guy, and it was Kawabata, who later resigned from the LDP. Asked about the incident during a diet session, and embarrassed, Kishida said, the party doesn't match his cabinet's goal of diversity. That's great, Kishida. How about that approval rating, huh? Shohei Ohtani may be South Korea's most beloved Japanese athlete, a testament to his charm in softening any lingering animosity between the two neighbors. Since his arrival in South Korea with his wife for the Major League Baseball opener on Wednesday, the Los Angeles Dodgers superstar has been the focus of keen special attention. Many Korean fans are wearing Ohtani jerseys and rooting for him at the stadium. In fact, the Korean national team manager covets Ohtani's autograph, and there are tons of media reports and social media posts in Korea praising Ohtani. Now, this is nothing new for the baseball superstar, who in December signed a record $700 million 10-year contract to join the Dodgers. But a Japanese person receiving such treatment in South Korea is extremely unusual because of historical grievances stemming from Japan's 1910 to 45 colonization of the Korean peninsula. Lee Jong-sung, a sports culture expert at Seoul's Hanyang University, says, our social atmosphere has often made it difficult for us to openly say we like Japan. I think Ohtani would perhaps be the first Japanese athlete who we can say we like. Maybe some even consider him an honorary Korean citizen. Many of Ohtani's South Korean supporters say they like him because of what they call his good manners as well as baseball excellence. Everyone loves a good boy, right? He's a good boy, he's a good lad. Before his departure to South Korea, he posted an Instagram photo showing him making the classic finger heart gesture with the Korean national flag emoji. How could they not love him? It's a good thing it was the South Korean flag, not the other one. After his arrival in South Korea, he told reporters he's always respected South Korea's national teams and called South Korea one of his favorite countries. A Korean message posted on X read, the country that Ohtani likes the most is South Korea. The Japanese, who South Koreans like the most, is Ohtani. Finger hearts for both of them. Next, a note of caution. Be mindful of who is sitting beside you on the bus or train, as the next two stories illustrate. Police in Fukuoka City have arrested a 42-year-old man on suspicion of property destruction after he cut a high school girl's skirt with a pair of scissors while they were aboard a bus last November. I guess cutting a skirt is property destruction, or you could just call it assault, harassment. I don't know, I'm not a police officer, I'm not a lawyer. Daisuke Iwamoto, the suspect, a company employee, is accused of snipping the 15-year-old girl's uniform while she was asleep in the seat beside him. Apparently, the girl did not realize that her skirt had been cut until she got off the bus. Luckily, this bus is high-tech and has security cameras, and when they looked at the footage, they saw Iwamoto. Iwamoto was very gracious though. He told the police his motive. He said, I was curious about the fabric and material used in the skirt worn by the girl sitting next to me, so I snipped off a piece with the scissors I had with me. He's just a budding tailor with nothing but a dream and a pair of scissors in his pocket. You know, who can't respect that? Although he also has a criminal charge against him now, but he still has a dream. We're done with buses. Now we're on to train. Police in Tokyo have arrested a 39-year-old man on suspicion of assaulting a man, also in his 30s, who was sitting next to him in a subway car by elbowing him in the face. According to police and witness reports, Yoichi Kaneki, an engineer at the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry, elbowed the man sitting beside him several times in the face and upper body while they were on the Tokyo Metro Namboku line one night last week. The two men got off the train at Meguro Station and continued to argue on the platform. A station employee called the police, and police said Kaneki was drunk at the time and that he admitted to the allegation. The victim was not seriously injured. Police said the trouble apparently started when the victim squeezed himself into the seat space beside Kaneki with their shoulders touching. Ooh, gross. That was too much for sensitive Kaneki, who decided there wasn't enough space for his fellow passenger to sit beside him. Look, literally everyone on public transportation is suffering like a sardine. So can we just mutually agree to be a bit forgiving if it gets a bit tight or someone bumps into us on accident? No, of course we can't. Everyone is too busy dealing with their own problems to be kind. And that's why I drive a car. Ain't nobody got time for that. And that's all for the news this week. Tune in next week where Loda!
Clip on the hip. Take a dip, clip on the back, next to the crack.
We'll be back. And by the way, remember my plans? There's a third one.